Allow me your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you. Essaouira X. W-E-R. Arabic. Romanized. A. Aura. Tachel Hit. Romanized. Taort. Formerly Amadul, known until the 1960s as Mogador, is a port city in the western Moroccan region of Marrakech Safi, on the Atlantic coast. It has 77,966 inhabitants as of 2014. The foundation of the city of Essaouira was the work of the Moroccan Alauid Sultan Mohammed bin Abdallah, who made an original experiment by entrusting it to several renowned architects since 1760, in particular Theodore Cornut and Ahmed al-Inglizi, who designed the city using French captives from the failed French expedition to Lorche in 1765, and with the mission of building the city adapted to the needs of foreign merchants. Once built, it continued to grow and experienced a golden age and exceptional development, becoming the country's most important commercial port but also its diplomatic capital between the end of the 18th century and the first half of the 19th century. Name and etymology. The name of the city is usually spelled Essaouira in Latin script, and in Arabic script. Both spellings represent its name in Moroccan Arabic, W-I-A. This is the diminutive to with definite article of the noun u, which means wall as round the yard, city, rampart. The pronunciation with phryngalized / and / is a typically Moroccan development. In classical Arabic, the noun is sur with plain / s / and /r/ diminutive suwayra. This is the only form cited in all dictionaries of classical Arabic. Hence, the spelling of the name in Arabic script according to the classical pronunciation is all suwayra with sin, not 80. In the Berber language, which is spoken by a sizable proportion of the city's inhabitants, it is called Taort, meaning the small fortress. In Moroccan Arabic, a single male inhabitant is called Wii, plural Wien. A single female inhabitant is Wiya, plural Wiya. In the Berber language, a single male inhabitant is Taort, plural Taot. A single female inhabitant is Ult Taort, plural Ist Taort. Until the 1960s, Essaouira was generally known by its Portuguese name, Mogador. This name is probably a corruption of the older Berber name Hamadul spelled in Arabic, which is mentioned by the 11th century geographer al-Bakr. History. Archaeological research shows that Essaouira has been occupied since prehistoric times. The bay at Essaouira is partially sheltered by the island of Mogador, making it a peaceful harbor protected against strong marine winds. Antiquity. Essaouira has long been considered one of the best anchorages of the Moroccan coast. The Carthaginian navigator Hanno visited in the 5th century BC and established the trading post of Aramis. Around the end of the 1st century BCE or early 1st century CE, the Berber king Juba II established a Tyrian purple factory, processing the murex and purpura shells found in the intertidal rocks at Essaouira and the Isles Purpuraires. This dye colored the purple striped in the togas worn by the senators of Imperial Rome. The Roman villa was excavated on Mogador Island. The Roman vase was found as well as coinage from the 3rd century CE. Most of the artifacts are now visible in the Sidi Mohammed bin Abdallah Museum and the Rabat Archaeological Museum. Early modern period. Resting place of Sidi Mohammed in Essaouira. During the Middle Ages, a Muslim saint named Sidi Mohammed was buried in Essaouira, probably giving its origin to the name Mogador. Portuguese establishment 1506 to 1510. Main article, Morocco-Portugal relations. In 1506, the King of Portugal, D. Manuel I, ordered a fortress to be built there, named Castelo Real de Mogador. Altogether, the Portuguese are documented to have seized 6 Moroccan towns and built 6 stand-alone fortresses on the Moroccan Atlantic coast, between the river Locos in the north and the river of Sousse in the south. 4 of them only had a short duration. Rossi Osa 1489, South Wadi Mamra 1515, Castelo Real of Mogador 1506 to 10, and A. Goose 1520 to 25. 2 became permanent urban settlements: Santa Cruz do Cabo de Guia, modern Agadir, founded in 1505 to 06, and Mazagan, founded in 1514 to 17. Following the 1541 fall of Agadir, the Portuguese had to abandon most of their settlements between 1541 and 1550, although they were able to keep Ceuta, Tangier and Mazagan. The fortress of Castelo Real of Mogador fell to the local resistance of the religious fraternity for years after its establishment, in 1510. The Portuguese-built Castelo Real of Mogador was defended under Abd el-Malik II by a garrison of 100 Moroccans. It was drawn by Adrian Mamam in 1641. During the 16th century, powers including Spain, England, the Netherlands and France tried in vain to conquer the locality. Essaouira remained a haven for the export of sugar and molasses and as an anchorage for pirates. De Razilly Expedition 1629. Further information. France-Morocco relations. France was involved in an early attempt to colonize Mogador in 1629. As Richelieu and Père Joseph were attempting to establish a colonial policy, Admiral Isaac de Razilly suggested they occupy Mogador in 1626, which he had reconnoitered in 1619. The objective was to create a base against the Sultan of Morocco and asphyxiate the harbor of Safi. Citation needed. He departed for sail on July 20, 1629 with a fleet composed of the ships Licorne, St. Louis, Griffin, Catherine, Hamburg, Saint and Saint Jean. He bombarded the city of Sale, destroyed 3 corsair ships, and then sent the Griffin under Captain Trielagodes to Mogador. The men of Razilly saw the fortress of Castelo Real in Mogador and landed 100 men with wood and supplies on Mogador Island, with the agreement of Richelieu. After a few days, however, the Griffin re-embarked the colonists and departed to rejoin the fleet in Sale. After these expeditions, France signed a treaty with Abd el-Malik II in 1631, giving France preferential treatment, known as capitulations, preferential tariffs, the establishment of a consulate, and freedom of religion for French subjects. Foundation of modern Essaouira 1760–1770. Map of Essaouira by Theodore Cornet. When he left in 1767, areas in pink were already built. Streets are still recognizable. Areas in yellow, Harbour Front and Medina, were only projected. Harbour fortifications were built by an English renegade named Ahmed Lalj in 1770, as described in the sculptured inscription in Arabic. Right. The present city of Essaouira was built during the mid-18th century by the Moroccan king. Mohammed II tried to reorient his kingdom toward the Atlantic for increased exchanges with European powers, choosing Mogador as his key location. One of his objectives was to establish a harbor at the closest possible point to Marrakesh. The other was to cut off trade from Agadir in the south, which had been favoring a political rival of Mohammed II, and the inhabitants of Agadir were forced to relocate to Essaouira. 11. For 12 years, Mohammed II directed a French engineer, Theodore Cornet, and several other Moroccan and European architects and technicians to build the fortress and city along modern lines. 11–12. Theodore Cornet designed and built the city itself, particularly the Kasbah area, corresponding to the royal quarters and the buildings for Christian merchants and diplomats. Other parts were built by other architects, including Moroccan architects especially from Fez, Marrakesh, and Rabat. The harbor entrance, with the Port de la Marine, was built by an English renegade by the name of Ahmed al-Inglazi Ahmed the English, or Ahmed Lalj Ahmed the Renegade. Mohammed II took numerous steps to encourage the development of Essaouira, including closing off the harbor of Agadir to the south in 1767 so that southern trade could be redirected through Essaouira. European communities in the northern harbor of Rabat Sale were ordered to move to Essaouira through an ordinance of January 21, 1765. Citation needed. From the time of its rebuilding by Muhammad II until the end of the 19th century, Essaouira served as Morocco's principal port, offering the goods of the caravan trade to the world. The route brought goods from sub-Saharan Africa to Timbuktu, then through the desert and over the Atlas Mountains to Marrakesh. The road from Marrakesh to Essaouira is a straight line, explaining the king's choice of this port among many others along the Moroccan coast. Jewish presence. Further information. Jews in Morocco. The Jewish House in Mogador, by Darando 1807–1841. Mohammed II encouraged Moroccan Jews to settle in the town and handle the trade with Europe. Jews once comprised the majority of the population. 13. And the Jewish quarter or Mela contains many old synagogues. The town also has a large Jewish cemetery. The city flourished until the caravan trade died, superseded by direct European shipping trade with sub-Saharan Africa. Changes in trade, the founding of Israel, the resulting wars with Arab states, and the independence of Morocco all resulted in Sephardic Jews leaving the country. As of 2017, Essaouira had only 3 Jewish inhabitants, On January 15, 2020, King Mohammed VI visited Beit Dafra, a Jewish heritage house, in Essaouira. In the 19th century, Essaouira became the first seaport of Morocco, with trade volumes about double those of Rabat. The city functioned as the harbor for Marrakesh, as it was only a few days from the inland city. Diplomatic and trade representations were established by European powers in Essaouira in the 1820s. European diplomats were concentrated in either Tangier or Essaouira. Following the Morocco's alliance with Algeria's Abd el-Kader against France, Essaouira was bombarded and briefly occupied by the French Navy under the Prince de Joinville on August 16, 1844, in the bombardment of Mogador, an important battle of the First Franco-Moroccan War. From 1912 to 1956, Essaouira was part of the French Protectorate of Morocco. Mogador was used as a base for a military expedition against the Aryan flus, when 8,000 French troops were located outside the city under the orders of Generals Frenchet d'Espéry and Goulard. The Kasbah of the Aryan flus was taken on January 25, 1913. In 1930, brothers Michel and Jean Vucanes used Essaouira as a base before Michel set off into the Western Sahara to try to find Smra. France had an important administrative, military and economic presence. Essaouira had a Franco-Moroccan school, still visible in Derderd Street. Linguistically, many Moroccans of Essaouira speak French fluently today. In the early 1950s, film director and actor Orson Welles stayed at the Hotel des Isles just south of the town walls during the filming of his 1952 classic version of Othello, which contains several memorable scenes shot in the labyrinthine streets and alleyways of the Medina. Legend has it that during Welles' sojourn in the town he met Winston Churchill, another guest at the Hotel des Isles. The bas-relief of Orson Welles is located in a small square just outside the Medina walls close to the sea. Several other film directors have utilized Essaouira as a location due to the photogenic and atmospheric qualities. The town was used in the filming of the Game of Thrones as the home of the army of the Unsullied. The scene of the rows of crucified slaves were props to cover the Portuguese cannons. Beginning in the late 1960s, Essaouira became something of a hippie hangout. Geography: Mile Perpetraires, with Mogador Island in the background seen from the ramparts of Essaouira. Essaouira is protected by a natural bay partially shielded from wave action by the Isles Perpetraires. A broad sandy beach extends from the harbor south of Essaouira, at which point the Oud Kassab discharges to the ocean. South of the discharge lies the archaeological ruin, the Bordij El Arad. 23. The Canary Current is responsible for the generally southward movement of ocean circulation and has led to enhancement of the local fishery. 24. The village of Diebat lies about 5 kilometers (3.1 miles) south of Essaouira, immediately south of the Oud Kassab. Essaouira connects to Sethi to the north and to Agadir to the south via the N1 road and to Marrakesh to the east via the R207 road. There is a small airport some 7 to 8 kilometers (4 to 5 miles) away from the town, which schedule several flights a week to Paris, Orly, London Luton and Brussels, South Charleroi and daily to Casablanca. Climate: Essaouira's climate is semi-arid BSK/BSH with mild temperatures year-round. The gap between highs and lows is small and summers are warm while winters are mild. Annual rainfall is usually 300 to 500 mm 12 to 20 in. The highest temperature ever recorded in Essaouira was 48.3 degrees C 118.9 degrees F on July 8, 2022. The lowest temperature ever recorded was 1.1 degrees C 34.0 degrees F on January 28, 1988. The lowest maximum temperature ever recorded was 11.8 degrees C 53.2 degrees F on February 15, 2018. The highest minimum temperature ever recorded was 26.7 degrees C 80.1 degrees F on October 13, 2017. The maximum amount of precipitation recorded in one day was 99.1 mm 3.90 in on March 8, 2013. The Medina of Essaouira, formerly Mogador, is a UNESCO World Heritage listed city, an example of a late 18th century fortified town, as transferred to North Africa by European colonists. Accommodation: there are only a handful of modern purpose-built hotels within the walls of the old city. Newer international hotels have been built along the seafront, with local planning regulations restricting buildings to 4 stories in height. Citation needed: there are also many privately owned riads, also known as the AORs, that may be rented on a daily or weekly basis. Activities. The Medina is home to many small arts and crafts businesses, notably cabinet making and wood carving using roots of the tetraclites tree, both of which have been practiced in Essaouira for centuries. The fishing harbor, suffering from the competition of Agadir and Safi, remains rather small, although the catches sardines, conger eels are surprisingly abundant due to the coastal upwelling generated by the powerful trade winds and the Canaries current. Essaouira remains one of the major fishing harbors of Morocco. Further information. Fishing industry in Morocco. Essaouira is also renowned for its kite surfing and wind surfing, with the powerful trade wind blowing almost constantly onto the protected, almost waveless bay. Several world-class clubs rent top-notch material on a weekly basis. The township of Sidi Kouki is located 25 kilometers south of Essaouira and is becoming one of the best locations in Morocco for surfing, windsurfing and kite surfing. 31. There are several businesses in Sidi Kouki which offer gear rental. Essaouira is also a center of Arabian oil production. It has become a tourist attraction due to the tree-climbing goats who are unique to the region, as argan trees are the only type the goats climb. Culture. Nawana with musicians performing during the 2010 Nawa World Music Festival in the city of Essaouira, Morocco. Essaouira presents itself as a city full of culture. Several small art galleries are found all over the town. Since 1998, the Nawa Festival of World Music is held in Essaouira, normally in the last week of June. It brings together artists from all over the world. Although focused on Nawa music, it includes rock, jazz and reggae. Dubbed as the Moroccan Woodstock, it lasts 4 days and attracts annually around 450,000 spectators. 34. Sites. Medina fortifications. Scala du Port. Scala de la Catalogue, the most picturesque gates. Port de la Marine Bab Manjana with Cloto Taggart Beach with sand dunes. Notre Dame de l'Assomption Church Catholic. Operational. Sidi Maghal Mosque. Sidi Maghal Lighthouse. Ben Youssef Mosque. International relations. See also list of twin towns and sister cities in Morocco. Essaouira is twinned with China Changshu, China France La Rochelle, France. Notable people. Albert Damasceno, hand shadow artist Jack Samir, politician Rabbi David Benanea Pinto, founder of Chevret Pinto and Ordheim Emish institutions, and grandson of the Tzaddik Rabbi Chaim Pinto and Riazalahi, advisor to the King David Ben Sasson, author of memoir Lee. Phils D. Magatter 3839. Mayor Cohen, politician Victor Elmali, businessman and national champion handball and squash player. Hetman Cameron El Merli, writer. See also Hahari Rita Tensift River Sura Kuwebi World Music Festival. Natal. Andre Joe William Wilshire. Allow me your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you.